Yeah, so this is my game against Yuriy Kuzubov, played in the European Online Club Cup, and this is the game from the playoff, the last round of the playoff. And yeah, the opening was Nim to Indian, so yeah, d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight d3, and bishop b4. He decided to go for a3. I think this is also a line he usually plays. I decided to go c5, of course. Castles is maybe the main move, but yeah, this is what I decided to play for this game. Bishop d3, knight c6. Okay, knight f3 is a pretty normal move. Knight g2 also. I think thousands of games played. cd, ed, and d5. Everything theory. Yeah, I think what white doesn't really want to allow is that I take dc4 because the bishop is better on this diagonal, so he took on d5, knight d5. And yeah, he played bishop c2, which is really interesting and also was the move I didn't know at that time. Yeah, of course, castles would be normal, but okay, bishop c2. I think the idea is if I castle, then there's queen d3, taking the pawn on h7, and I don't really want to play g6 because it allows bishop h6, and yeah, all the squares are getting weak. So that is basically the idea and my problem. That's why I decided to go back to d6, always having some kind of knight b4 ideas. That's also why he played a3, yeah, just to prevent any kind of knight b4 ideas. Yeah, here I think it's humanly not that easy for black to find a way. I took on c3, bc3, and just bishop d7. I think it's a pretty normal way of facing this idea. Queen d3 and queen h4. Yeah, I'm just defending this pawn on h7 in advance and also preventing him from castling immediately because the h2 pawn is hanging. Yeah, so he played knight g3, yeah, defending this pawn. And okay, I played rook c8, castles, knight e7. Yeah, my idea was just to get the knight to g6, and the reason why I waited to play knight e7 was that now there's no knight e4 move because the knight is pinned and h2 would be made. So yeah, he played rook e1, but now okay, I have the idea of playing knight g6, preparing to castle, but okay, he has one more tempo so that he can prevent me from castling, and he played rook b1, taking the pawn on b7. I had to play b6. And now rook e4, attacking the queen. Going back to f6 wouldn't be that good because of knight h5, and I will lose the g7 pawn. So I went back to d8, and now there's knight f5. And yeah, of course, this is pretty unpleasant to face because nobody really wants to go bishop f8. It's just way too passive, and also yeah, someone gives away the initiative. So the move I had planned was bishop c6, taking the rook and defending the bishop at the same time. So knight e6, queen d6 would be in my favor. And yeah, but of course pawn on g7 is hanging, so he took it with check. Now it's some kind of a question where to go with the king. So I think e7 is pretty bad because of rook e6, fe6, and bishop g5. King f8. There were many reasons why this is not that good. I thought of bishop h6, bishop e4, and I think knight e6, which also looks very dangerous. And yeah, I don't really believe that this is good for black. So my plan has always been to go to d7 with the king. And yeah, now his rook is attacked. He went to g4. I played rook g8, knight h5, and f5, attacking the rook. The rook has no real place to go, so of course his idea was bishop g5, attacking the queen, intermediate move. If I move the queen, there's always knight f6 check, which would be really unpleasant. So yeah, my plan was to go bishop e7, and queen e7. Of course, but now the rook has the idea to go to g3, since the bishop is not on d6 anymore. Here there has been this question because I thought about playing f4, rook g4, and I saw this idea of knight e5, but here d5 is check, so this doesn't work for me. That's why I decided to just get the king out of this danger zone and go king c7. He played c4, f4, and now rook g4. Of course, first I had planned knight e5, yeah, but then I saw that he can take on g8, and after knight d3 there's just rook g7. He will win back the queen and have a much better and maybe even winning position. So yeah, this is why I thought knight e5 doesn't really work. Yeah, I think in fact it's an interesting idea because I can take back on g8, and after d5 there's rook g2 and some crazy lines, but this is not what I wanted while the game was going on. It's just too complicated for me to calculate all this in a rapid game. That's why I decided to go knight h4. He took. Yeah, and now g2 is attacked by 3 pieces, so he can't defend. He played d5. I think it's pretty human because just cutting this bishop, yeah, okay, he gives away the g2 pawn, but he can go to f1 and there's no immediate mate at least. Yeah, my decision was to go queen g5. The idea is that he can't take on c6 because I have rook g1 check, king e2 and f3, and he would have to give up the queen and yeah, we'll just lose the game. So the bishop is not really hanging. That's why he took on h7 with check. Yeah, of course now there are many places to go with the king. Probably d6 would be one just to say that, yeah, there are no more checks, but I thought now he can take, because now rook g1, king e2, f3, and there's just a square on d3, and I didn't see a way to mate him on d3, so I thought I can't just give away the bishop, and that's why I played bishop d7. d6 I think would be a bad move, because I can just take on f2 again, and yeah, now king f2, queen g2, king e1, knight f3, king d1, and queen e2 checkmate. That would be a nice finish, of course, but yeah, of course he didn't allow that. Yeah, his move was d6, which I actually had totally forgotten about, which is, I think, yeah, was pretty hard for me to face. I mean, now some move like king c6 is answered by bishop e4, king c8, there's queen h8 and bishop e4. I know that according to engine this is not that bad, but yeah, just from a human perspective this looked very dangerous. And yeah, with a few seconds on the clock I decided to take on c6, and after rook d1 check just to go to c5, because I saw that, yeah, the king might look very weak on c5, but there's no way to immediately punish this king. So yeah, he just took on d7, and I think what he missed is that, okay, rook f2 is what he missed, and what I think he believed what would work for him is rook g1 check, king e2, f3, and again just king d3, and no real way to mate him here. Yeah, but I played rook f2 check, king f2, queen g2, king e1, knight f3, checkmate, and that was the end of the game. Of course, I think it's very easy to miss, at least with a few seconds on the clock, because you always feel like, yeah, rook g1 is the move to play. Just, okay, giving away the rook in order to, yeah, free the way for the queen is, I guess, what he missed. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I believe that not many teams have managed to win this before, even world-class teams with only world-class players, so it's not like you can guarantee to win this. Also, so many top teams in the finals, so yeah, definitely great experience.